Also, this surah came down with the issue of the marriage of Zaynab bint Jahsh. This is verse number 37, and this is one of the stories of the seerah that I cannot go over here. It's a very long story, but it is one of the verses. Aisha radiallahu anha said, she said, if our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were to have hidden anything from the Quran, it would have been this verse. The fact that it is in the Quran demonstrates that the Quran is not from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is conveying it as it has been conveyed to him. And of course, the story is the story of the marriage of our Prophet ﷺ with Zaynab. And Zaynab was married to his the person whom he had taken as a son, announced that he was his son, and that is Zayd ibn Haritha. And this surah came down to annul the concept of this type of sonship. In Arabic is called tabanni. And Zayd ibn Haritha was taken as a son, and this was an Arabian custom, an ancient custom, that if you really liked somebody and you wanted him to be a part of your family, you had the option of a free upgrade. You had the option of saying, okay, this person, he is my son. And so the Prophet ﷺ, in the days of Jahiliyyah, he had taken this young lad Zayd. He was of course Khadija's gift at the time of marriage as a slave. He freed him, and then he loved him so much he made him into a son. And so Zayd was called Zayd ibn Muhammad for the longest time. Then Allah reveals Surah Al-Ahzab verse 4 that وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدْعِيَاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ, He did not make your tabanni sons into your actual sons. And verse number 5, call them by their fathers. أُدْعُوهُمْ لِآبَائِهِمْ. Don't call them, by anybody else. Every child should be the son of whoever his father was. That is more just in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by the way, whoever translated these concepts back in the 60s or 70s, they made a very egregious error of saying that Islam forbids adoption. And because of this, untold misunderstandings and misconceptions have spread. And I sometimes want to scream in frustration, Islam encourages adoption in the standard sense of taking somebody's child and raising it and loving it like your own and giving its amenities like your own. What is haram is one aspect which by and large is not done in the Western world or even in the modern world, and that is the claim that this child is your biological child. That's not done anymore. It's a gone thing. So we should stop saying that Islam does not allow adoption. Islam encourages to the highest degree. You taking an orphan child, or you're taking an abandoned child, somebody has abandoned the child. Islam encourages this to the highest degree. Your Jannah is promised. You're being saved from Jahannam. Our Prophet ﷺ said that myself and the one who takes care of an orphan is like this in Jannah. This is what we should be preaching. We should never say that Islam does not allow adoption, because people have a misunderstanding. Islam does not allow tabanni, and tabanni is to claim that a child is your own. That is what is not allowed. So this ayah came down, and so Zayd began to be called Zayd ibn Haritha. And Allah Azza wa Jalla also revealed in this surah that Zayd and of course Zaynab were having issues, and Zayd eventually divorced Zaynab. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after the iddah had finished, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this verse number 37, that once Zayd had finished with her, meaning the iddah has been finished, زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا, that we have married you to her. So the contract between our Prophet ﷺ and Zaynab, it is in the Quran. There was no actual ceremony done because it is in the Quran, and you can look up the details of this in my seerah or any other book of seerah about this issue.